This goes back to when I was 15 and a sophomore in high school. I had a few friends that would walk by myself to and from most of my classes because small talk made and still does make me nervous, thanks to some anxiety issues. I was walking to class one day and this guy, we'll call him Creeper, came out of nowhere and started walking next to me. It was a bit too close for comfort, so I moved over, but he followed. He was so close to me that his arm was brushing against my shoulder. For context, I'm 5'1" and 93 pounds. This guy was at least 6'2", 180 pounds, and probably a year or two older. I had some bad experiences with stranger men in the past, so I was getting pretty uneasy. He finally decided to introduce himself. "Hey, you're Donna, right?" Of course, I was taken aback since I had no clue who the student was and had never seen him before. "Do I know you?" I asked. What he said next gave me chills and still creeps me out to this day. "No, but I know you." Just like that, he turned around and walked away. I kid you not, he actually said that. I saw him the next morning when I was sitting with my friends and waiting for the first bell to ring. I pointed him out to them and asked who he was. They didn't know him either. The bell rang and we all went our separate ways. I stick my headphones in my ears and turn on some music while walking to my first period. I felt an arm brushing against my shoulder. I looked out of the corner of my eye and saw the Creeper there, staring at me with this weird grin. I moved away from him just like before, and he moved right with me. He pulled my headphones off and started asking me for my number. When I told him no, he started begging like he was trying to be cute. "Please, can I have your number? You're so pretty. I just want to be able to call you." I said nothing really. Then he started asking me if I had a boyfriend and if that was why I wouldn't talk to him. I got to my class and hurried in, and he stood by the door staring and grinning for a few seconds before he left. This went on for several weeks. He started turning up everywhere I went. I would even take detours to try and throw him off, but he eventually picked up on those as well. Every day he would ask if I had a boyfriend and if I would just give him my number. After telling him no multiple times, I eventually gave up and just started giving him the cold shoulder. One afternoon, I was walking to the bus parking lot to catch my ride home. Suddenly, my headphones were tugged out of my ears and lo and behold, there was Creeper. "You never gave me your number," he whined. I put my earbuds back in only to have them yanked out again. "Why won't you give me your number? Come on, haven't I been nice to you?" I hop on my bus and thank the gods he didn't follow. That night, I got a text message from an unknown number. It said, "Hey," with a winky face. I asked who it was, and soon after I got the reply that it was Creeper, and he asked if I was a virgin. I'm sitting here thinking, how did you get my cell phone number? I did have Facebook and MySpace, but neither one of them had my email or phone number visible to anyone but my friends. The next morning, I called the phone company and asked them to block his number so he couldn't contact me. The following day, I was walking between the two buildings of the high school on my way to a midday class, and he showed up again. "Why aren't you answering your phone? Why won't you message me back?" I told him I couldn't talk because I was going to be late for class and walked faster. He got up and raised his voice a bit. "Why won't you answer my calls? I want you to be my girlfriend." I ignored him, and I guess he was tired of that because he got really angry. He ran up behind me and grabbed the handle of my backpack and the hood of my jacket with the same hand and yanked me backwards. I reached forward and grabbed the handle of the heavy metal door of the next building. I was screaming at him at this point. "Let me go! Just leave me alone, okay?" He was still trying to pull me behind the building, and I was about to lose my grip on the door handle when I guess he realized that I created a scene. He let go and nervously said something along the lines like he was just playing and to stop being so serious. After that, he would try to message me on Facebook once in a while, but I blocked him there too. Thankfully, I haven't heard from him since. This happened when I was in my junior year in high school. We had a group of projects that we were given back 2 weeks ago to work on. Our teacher let us pick our partners, and I picked my best friend Peter. But we lagged, procrastinating the work for an entire week when there was only 3 or 4 days left before submission. Our rational senses finally kicked in. I asked Peter, "Well, what are we going to do?" It was after school and we were hanging out at a store nearby. Peter replied in a worried voice, "I mean, we have enough time to finish it. We just have to get together and do it." And then I replied, Then let's do that. We don't have enough time left. How about we go to someone's house and work on it there? I continued. He replies, well, I guess, but which house? My house isn't free. My aunt and uncles are coming to visit tomorrow, so we can't do it there. None of our houses were available to work at, so we tried to pick out some places to work at, and Peter came up with an idea. Dude, how about we work in the school? I replied, we rarely get time at school. He continued saying, no, I mean, like, let's go to school at night and just do it there. Don't they lock the doors? I asked. No, they're night classes, so the school is technically still open, he answered. We agreed to meet up at the school at 9:30 p.m., the same time the night classes start. When we reached there, we barely saw anyone in the school. The guards were also absent from the gate. It was so quiet and dark that I had trouble believing how cheerful this place gets in the day. A classroom was on the opposite side of the campus. We started walking down the hallway. The only light was one in the very middle of the hallway, and although the hallway had windows, the moonlight wasn't very helpful. We tried to enter our classroom, but of course, it was locked, so we decided to just do it in the hallway. We sat down on the floor and started working on our project. We hadn't been working for long when we heard a weird noise. We immediately stared at the end of the hallway from where the sound was coming from. It felt like something was walking weirdly, almost like taking a step, then dragged the other foot in a limping motion in that light, shadowy atmosphere. We could see the wide, empty hallway standing before us. What the hell is that? Peter asked. I don't know. I think someone's coming here, I replied. We kept staring at the empty hallway, expecting to see any teacher or student, but instead we saw someone else. A man slowly came out from the left, and he was dressed as our school janitor. The man was of average height and had a broom in his hand. There was something wrong with his left leg. He could barely walk, and I finally realized he was the one we heard limping a few moments back. At first, he didn't notice and kept walking, but when he was in the middle of the hallway, he suddenly stopped, then sniffed the air in a very creepy way and turned his face at us right away. Even though his face was hidden in the dark, I was able to see clearly. They were unusually big and round, making the empty space inside them seem even scarier. His eyes didn't blink and kept staring at us as if he didn't notice anything else around him. Each time he blinked, I felt a creepy sensation that made me more and more uncomfortable. In that scary moment, I gathered my bravery to break the cold silence, wanting to get away from this frightening situation. Hi, we're just doing our homework? Yeah, we will leave as soon as we're done with it, Peter added. The janitor slowly walked toward us and stopped right under the hallway light. Finally, we could see him. Nothing was striking in his appearance except his facial expressions. He kept staring at us like he was doing all the time and then smiled ear to ear in a very unsettling way. He then spoke in a calm but shrill voice. Are you guys lying to me? No one comes here after dark. Even the night class students avoid this wing like the plague. Peter and I exchanged a look thinking how strange this man is. Look, we'll finish soon and leave. We won't cause any trouble, I said. No, I'm not asking you boys to leave. Stay as long as you want. I'm tired of being alone, the creepy janitor replied. I went on to say, then we better finish our assignment. Saying this, we got back to work thinking the janitor would go away, but he didn't. He just kept standing there, holding his broom in hand and smiling at us. He didn't speak, didn't turn back, just stood there watching us without blinking. Peter couldn't take his bizarre behavior anymore, so he said in an annoyed voice, But don't you have work to do? The cleaning and stuff? But I like it here, spending time with you guys, he replied. This is so crazy. We got up to leave, and I saw the man's face change. His eyes turned blood red, and the veins in his forehead started to pop out in anger. He started breathing heavily, looking at us. We turned around to walk away when I felt something bad was about to happen. Before I could guess what it could be, a huge blow came right at Peter. He didn't see the broomstick coming at him, and it hit him hard on the head. He grabbed his forehead, screaming and bleeding, and I saw the janitor standing right behind us, laughing in sickening joy. He proceeded to punch me in the face, breaking my nose. The guy was short-limbed, but strong enough, too. I collapsed to the ground, hiding my bleeding nose, and then he grabbed Peter by the hair and started to drag him back to where we had come from. Peter kicked in the air and screamed, but the man's strength was way more than his. I was so jolted away by the pain that it took me a moment to get back on my feet. Finally, when the man was at the end of the hallway where he saw him for the first time, I got up and started to run towards him, having no weapon to defend myself or my friend. Driven by fear and adrenaline, I grabbed the thin strands of hair on his head and pulled with all my might. I was shocked to see a horrifying piece of his scalp tearing away, causing blood to flow from the roots. As a result of my forceful attack, he let go of Peter and turned his focus on me. However, I quickly grabbed his broom and struck him with all my strength. He fell, screaming. We both ran for our lives and went straight to the night class wing. The teachers and students were shocked to see two boys in such conditions after school hours. They called the cops and paramedics. Our parents were called too. Moments later, the cops arrested the janitor, who's lying unconscious in the hallway in pain. When he was taken away, he turned his face right at me. He still stared at me with his wide eyes and smiled ear to ear. I just hope he never gets out of prison. One night, my friends and I hatched a genius plan. We'd sneak into the high school basement through one of the windows that were broken and never fixed. The thing about this window is you'd have to hop a short metal gate surrounding the outside staircase leading to the basement. Not that it would effectively stop anyone, but it added that extra barrier that makes you feel like you're really doing something devious when you cross over it. We made sure that there weren't any security cars anywhere nearby, and we all hopped the gate. Crawling in through the window proved difficult considering we had to boost ourselves up, then crawl through an insanely skinny opening. But once we were in, we were in. We kind of dispersed from each other to explore different areas. One thing was for sure, the basement of the school was a mess and anything but interesting. There was a little light. One small white light was on in a far corner, and the exit sign light actually produced more light than you'd think. I was looking around when I saw one of my friends in front of me. He whispered, "Let's go upstairs." So I followed him upstairs, and he opened the door up to the main hallway of the school. Everything was dark. I always thought there were at least some lights left on in the school at night, but no, not a single light was on. All that really stood out as far as the eye could see were the various exit signs glowing red. I followed my friend down the hall and remember saying, "Dude, this is really creepy." And he replied, "Shh," but I realized he was right. Who knew if somebody else could be in the building besides my friends and me? Little did I know just yet. I followed my friend to the bathroom and he went into one of the stalls. I whispered, "Hurry up." I waited for a while, then my phone started to ring. I picked it up and it was one of my friends, Chris. He asked, "Where the hell did you go?" I said, "I'm upstairs with either Roland or Brandon." He said, "What do you mean? They're with me." And right after both Brendan and Roland said hi, apparently on speakerphone, I stuttered the word, "I," and stopped trying to think straight. Then there was a laugh coming from the stall. Not the laugh of any of my friends. I looked up at the stall. Someone was looking over it at me, probably standing on the toilet. I screamed "holy shit" over and over into the phone as I left the bathroom. Shortly after I was out, I heard the stall door slam shut. I tried to run back to the basement in the dark, but it wasn't too easy to find in the dark. Luckily, I managed to find it, so I started to scream their names as I ran down the stairs. I screamed, "Go, go!" when they answered, and we, one by one, jumped off some kind of bucket onto the window ledge and crawled back outside. I was the first one out, though, afraid that person from the bathroom was following. When we were all outside, I explained to them out of breath, while also laughing now that I felt safe with all of them next to me. I guess we were loud or something, though, because as we all just started looking around at the whole school building and all the classroom windows, in one of the downstairs windows was someone with their hands pressed up against the glass. We could only see maybe half of their face. I said, "That's gotta be him," as Roland ushered us to get the hell out of there. We ran until we were off the premises of the school, and that was that. We came up with a lot of possible explanations, but none of them really made sense. Obviously, we never did anything like that again, though.